Hello everyone, myself Amit Sagatia and I'm from collegeduna.com. Today we are having with us Dr. Amit Das sir. Hello sir, welcome to our portal collegeduna.com. So sir, please introduce yourself.
My name is Amit Das. I'm a professor of data science at IFMR GSP in KREA University. I'm also overseeing admissions this year. I started my studies as an electronics engineer from IIT Kharagpur. And then I did PGDM. In those days, there was no MBA from IIM Calcutta. I worked for Tata Motors for 3 years and then went to the US and got a PhD in information systems from the University of Minnesota. After that, I worked for 15 years in Nanyang Technological University in Singapore and another 10 years at Qatar University in Doha, Qatar. After 30 years of being abroad, I came to India in 2019 and have been here for the last 4 years. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm ready to talk. Thank you.
So sir, starting with the questionnaire session, my first question to you is, how does the program ensure that the students are being prepared for the future?
Yes, interesting thing about the future is that nobody knows what the future looks like. So 5 years ago, you did not know what COVID looks like. 10 years ago, you did not know what the global financial crisis looks like. And maybe 25 years ago, you did not know what the dot-com bust looks like. So it's quite a challenge to prepare for the future when you don't know what the future is. But we at IFMR GSB don't shy away from the task just because it's difficult. No, the mandate of KREA University is to prepare students for an unpredictable future. We assume the future is unpredictable, cannot be predicted, and still we need to prepare. So one of the ways we do this is we focus more on resilience, the things that will stand even when everything around it breaks. So instead of trying to guess whether we will get to point A or we will get to point B and trying to prepare for point A or point B, we try to prepare for a world where neither point A happens, nor point B happens, nor point C happens. And something happens that we have not predicted. The war in Ukraine was not predicted. The disturbance in Sudan was not predicted. COVID was not predicted. We don't know when the next pandemic will come. Climate change is already here. India is a lot hotter this year, as you noticed it was last year. It is no longer a matter of the future. It's a matter of the present. So I think we have pretty much gone away from trying to predict the future and predict for that future, because that future is most likely not going to happen. So we have to be able to then plan without knowing what the future is going to be. And that is what we are trying to do at IFMR GSB. A couple of things I should tell you that we are emphasizing. We have very experienced faculty who have seen all the way from Asian financial crisis through dot-com bust, through a global financial crisis, through COVID and so on. So these experienced people kind of know what stays the same and what changes. And therefore they try to teach the students both kinds of things. This is the body of knowledge that you can expect will still apply 5 to 10 years from now. And this is the body of knowledge that is the current state of the art. And we are not ashamed to tell you that it's going to change. 2 years ago, it was Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Today, it is AI. I can guarantee you 2 years from now, we'll not be talking about AI. And 2 years ago, we were talking about blockchain as if it was the solver of all problems. So we try to differentiate in the student's mind that this is the thing that is durable and will last you many, many years. And this is the thing that you need to know now to get a good role in a good company. And if they can keep that separation in their mind, what is permanent and what is temporary, I think they are in better shape. We also try to encourage them to try to, not forecast the future, but prepare for the future. I'm reminded of something that Professor Willie Shee at Harvard often talks about, not just in time, but just in case. Just in time was trying to extract all the efficiency out of the supply chain, going to China, making all your stuff there. But one day China closed for COVID. And those who were pursuing just in time were caught short. Those who were preparing for just in case, having a base in Vietnam, having some production in India, they were not caught short. So I think we have to change our thinking from trying to always extract the maximum efficiency to try to protect against what can go wrong. Because things will go wrong, because we don't want things to go wrong, but they will go wrong. And so we try to teach them design thinking, how to extract requirements from a situation and see when situation is changing. We try to teach them a company-wide simulation called CAPSIM so that they can know that things are interrelated. You make a decision in sales, it affects HR. You make a change in HR, it affects production, and so on. So when students learn to see these interrelationships and they realize that they are in a complex, uncertain, turbulent world, then that gives them sort of the humility that though I am an MBA, I don't know everything. I'm an MBA, I know accounting, I know marketing, I know production, I know HR. Much of this knowledge has been accumulated over 50, 100 years. It will last. In my career also, it will apply. But there is 30-40% of the knowledge that I have picked up from college, which is current, which is modern, very cutting edge. And this may or may not last. And when the students have that mindset, that means that 30-40% of my knowledge must be refreshed when I go to the workplace. I should not go there and say I'm a blockchain expert. Nobody cares anymore about blockchain. So you have to go there and say, I used to know blockchain, but I am happy to learn whatever new technology you are telling me to learn. And so that humble attitude, willingness to keep learning, MBA is not the end goal. You are launching a career for the next 30-35 years. You have to stay employed. So we try to teach our students that humility, that times change. What works today may not work tomorrow. But please, here is a body of bedrock knowledge that you can count on. Debits will always total like 2 credits. Balance sheets will always balance. These are things that you can count on. But there are things that will change. Please be humble. Please be willing to learn new things as they come along. So that's how we've been trying to teach students how to prepare for the future. I don't know the future. I doubt that you know the future. But we are trying to put out students who will be able to deal with a whole range of futures, good futures, bad futures, achhe din, bure din. We are preparing for everything. That's about it.
Very nicely explained, sir. So, sir, coming to the curriculum part, what were the challenges that you are faced while inculcating this program in your curriculum?
The curriculum in MBA colleges, I started my MBA in IIM Calcutta many years ago. I can't tell you how many years ago, because then you'll know how old I am, very, very old. But MBA curriculums tend to be a little faddish and fashionable, flavor of the month, Today it is this. In our times, we have seen zero-based budgeting, this, that, and all kinds of fads and fashions come along. And if you don't train the students in that, they feel as if you are getting a dated, traditional curriculum. Modern nahi hai, cutting edge nahi hai, And so you have to make allowances. But just like, your father looks at you and knows that what you're thinking today may or may not work out in the future, but you don't know that. I think our teachers, our professors are senior enough that they try to entertain the students and answer all the questions about what is happening in the world right now, but also try to tell them, hey boss, you need to think a little bit more long term, that what you're looking at today, please capitalize on it. If there is a good role to be grabbed by doing risk, compliance, security analysis, whatever is hot now, go for it. But remember that what is hot today may not be hot tomorrow. And so you need to build a stable foundation on which you can build a career that will keep you employed. And you have to really think about this, seriously. One degree to keep a job for 30 years is not an easy task, This degree will become obsolete in 5 years, 10 years, and so on. So if you're not constantly upskilling, you are going to be left behind, So we try to keep this, when we try to teach this, sometimes the students will push back. They'll say, we didn't cover this topic, that college is doing this college is doing that. Why are we spending so much time on accounting? Why are we spending so much time on quantitative methods? We spend time because these are going to last, These things, if you learn well, the building blocks, they will not become obsolete. What we build on top. So today, for example, I teach data science, I teach advanced techniques like machine learning, random forest, neural networks, deep learning. Will they be lasting? Probably not. In 5 years from now, better techniques will come, better computers will come, better techniques will come. Does that mean I don't teach them? No, I teach them. But I teach them telling them that this is the current state of the art. Please don't expect 5 years from now that your knowledge of random forest is going to make you a data science expert. It will not be enough. You will need to keep picking up, Python may not remain the language of data science. It may change to something else. So this is a little bit of resistance that we get from the students because they are young, They have seen only one cycle. Maybe only disruption they have seen in their life is COVID. And so they tend to think that why don't we optimize for the current situation so that we can land the job with the highest pay, go with the most marquee name in placement. Why is this guy telling me to learn things about history, trying to tell me things about, predicting future and the futility of that? And so we get a little bit of pushback, but I think in the end they understand. Because I think one thing that is there is a high level of trust. The students know that the teachers want their good. That we are not teaching them things just to please ourselves. We are trying to teach them things that will keep them employed, productive, profitable for many years. Once they trust us, then it is easier for us to tell them that this is what you must learn, painful as it might be. There are so many ways of accounting for bad debts in accounting, and some of them are hard. Could you get an MBA without knowing those? I think you can. But a time might come when India has a debt crisis, and that will be the time when you will need to know how to account for all the loans that have gone bad. And that is the time when this knowledge will be called for. I mean, we hope that time never comes. We hope we never have a crisis, but we are prepared if it happens. So this is the thing that the students often don't see value. They think, sir, ye to nahi hoga. And you have to tell them, ho sakta hai. Ho sakta hai. Who thought COVID would come? Who thought restaurants would close? Who thought classes would go to Zoom? Who thought cinemas will shut down? Ho sakta hai. Kuch bhi ho sakta hai. And that is the thinking. As older people talking to younger people, that is our challenge, to tell them to think more broadly. Not get fixed on the present, but think about the past, think about the future. And I think we get a reasonable response from most people. There are a few who are unwilling, but there is always a mix of students in a batch, and we can work with that. Yeah, that's my.
Very nicely explained, sir. So, sir, moving ahead to the last question, what are the benefits and career options after pursuing the MBA program?
Okay. I think benefits and career options, I'll tell you the objective one first, which is our placement is always 100% last 20 years. And we have always placed people in good roles. Last year CTC was about 13.5, 14. Marquee employers, our top employers are all American banks, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citibank, Bank of America, also European banks, Societe Generale, and Credit Suisse, and so on. So that's the sort of first-in-hand benefit. As you are walking out of the gate of the university, you have a good job. But more than that is the long-run benefit. We have an alumni network of 20 years. We have people in almost every industry. If you want to pick up the phone and ask, like, Bombay mein koi hai kya jaan pehchan, you can kind of do that. That we have a lot of people, not just Bombay, but also in New York, also in other countries, Dubai, Singapore, name it. Our alumni are there in good roles, responsible, have moved up management and now in middle management, some in senior management and so on. So that's a long-term benefit. That once again, the students don't see the long-term benefit. They see how much CTC they're getting as they're stepping out of the gate, But they don't realize that they have become now part of a community that they can now leverage. That they can go to a place and find somebody. Wherever they go for internship and all, they'll come and say, wahan pe IFMR wala mila. I said, of course milega. We've been there for 20 years. How can we not have a person there? Did you really expect that nobody would know you there? So that alumni network, that support network that we have, I think is something that is underappreciated, and schools that are just up and coming will build it over time. But personally, as an IIT graduate and an IIM graduate, I have always benefited a lot from my networks. And I think IFMR gives you a similar network, maybe smaller in size because we have a smaller batch size. We are going from 180 to 240 this year. But compared to many schools, we are still small. 20 years is also, seems like a long time, but then, my other institutions, IIMs and IITs have been around 50 years. So we are sort of a medium scale in terms of our alumni network. But I'm happy to say that nowadays when I call some of those people to come and speak, and I just ask, like, what is your designation? Can I note it down? I find they have very impressive designations. They are in senior positions in their companies. So the alumni network, the long-term benefits, they are always welcome to come back to university. We always welcome our alumni back. They come and give guest lecture. They come and consult with us. So this is a long-term benefit. But the short-term benefit, I think, which is most salient in people's minds is 100% placement and good CTC. We do our best. We don't compromise that. But that's not all we do. So that's my take.
Okay. Very well said, sir. So just last question. Any suggestion you would like to give to the current youth?
Current group, I think I would say, one thing they have to realize is that residential MBA is a big privilege. I was just telling my students, less than 1% of the people in our country can afford the luxury of going to a residential MBA where you're not working, where you don't have to send money to your family, where all you're expected to do is study. study and have fun, have fun on the campus. Play football, play table tennis, sing, dance, participate in a play, do things for poor people, hold some events. This is an opportunity for self-development. And I'm sad to say that most people in our country will never have that kind of experience. I talk to people and they say, "Keval padhai karte hain, naukri nahi karna hota." And I say, yes, that is true. Some people are so lucky in life that they get this opportunity. They stay like a resort in a 2-seater air-conditioned room, and all we ask them is to come to class and do homework and participate in extracurricular activities. This is really a luxury. I want people to understand that this is not what everybody gets. So to be thankful for this, that aapko mila hai, sabko nahi milta, and you just have to make the maximum out of it. This is like, you've got a ball on the goal line. All you have to do is now tap it into the goal. Most people are struggling midfield, they are nowhere near what you're getting. Most people in India carry one copy and one pen and ride the state bus to go to their college and come back. And they also get MBA. But this kind of residential experience that people are, getting because of the privilege of their family, because of the wealth that they have, because of their academic record, this is very unusual. We often lose sight of this because we are surrounded by people like that. We think this is normal. This is not normal. This is highly abnormal. And I know it costs a lot of money, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs. That is often an issue, but more than that is to be grateful for the opportunity. Aisa mauka sabko nahi milta. And once you have the opportunity, please make the best of it. Please make the best of it in academics. Please make the best of it in extracurricular. Please make the best of it in your personal development. Make the best of it in your friendships, in your relationships, whatever you do. This opportunity is not a cheap one. It is not an easy one. Please don't forget how blessed, how fortunate, how you are. So that is my only plea to the current batch. Ki bhool nahi jao. This is you won the prize essentially. Now behave accordingly. Don't waste it. That's all.
Very well said, sir. It will definitely help a lot to the current youth, sir. So, sir, thank you so much for giving such informative about your institute, sir. Thank you so much, sir.